Monday on Your View. Welcome to the show. I am Morayo Afolabi Brown. As always, I have the ladies with me. Hello, Nima. How are you? Akasha Zibiri.
I'm fine.
I love the green.
Thank you. Land is green. Kano Saturday.
Yes.
Happy birthday, Elizabeth. You do many, many more fruitful years on earth and prosperous years. Amen. It's also Bumi's father's 70th birthday today.
Wow.
So Elder Matthew Olorun Shogo Omoshono. Happy birthday. He clocked 70. Abby. And it was Yala Olu's son's wedding on Saturday.
Oh, wow.
I wish them happy married life. Laolu and his Urubo wife.
Wow.
Yes. I'm just grateful to God. The stress from Thursday till this morning, I hope I get over and rest tomorrow.
That's our regards to her.
Yes.
So I'm sure she'll be so happy, you know, to get it over and done with.
She is, but very tired.
How are you doing, Tokwe?
I'm very good.
You see your hair today.
Yes.
Beautiful hair.
So I brought my natural hair out. I just couldn't be bothered with wig. I'm grateful to God for life and all the opportunities to be a blessing to everyone around. I posted something this morning and I said that I like what I do because what I do, I make money from making people make money and then they are happy. So like what I'm doing has a positive ecological effect. And I don't know how many people find themselves in that place. Sometimes your job, when you are making money, it means people are dying. You know, if you work as an hospital manager, you're literally making money and you're happy, but that means some people are crying, you know. So I'm really grateful. I just thought about that this morning. I was like, thank God.
So was there a party this morning?
It's what we see in the wardrobe that we wear. Thank you to Lawiza for making the wardrobe full of bling bling.
Yeah, blinged out, Monday morning bling.
I thought we were going to do some formal outfits for February, but this was what I saw and I wore.
That is nice. How are you doing, BC?
Doing amazing. I'm
The
grateful
hair
to
is
God.
so cute.
Thank you. I had so much fun on Saturday.
Yeah.
To think that early morning I wasn't feeling good at all. I didn't even know if I was going to be able to make it, but I got there and we danced.
Yes.
I danced away the malaria. Wallahi. You know, so we had fun. But I'm grateful to God because the care mentorship program is starting this Saturday. Yes, I'm excited. I have people who have registered already. The class is cool, and I'm looking forward to it. But registration is still ongoing till Friday, where we'll just close for the day. And it's all about helping people to gain clarity on what their purpose is and finding ways that you can achieve your dreams, your goals, and be consistent about it.
You know, we've not had a show about plan for the year. I think we had thought of having something to help people set the plan for the year 2022. You know, elections are going to be coming next year. A lot of people, it's time for us to really have a direction concerning your own career, what you want to do. Are you in politics? Are you declaring? You know, we really should
whatever
have
it is you want to do. I have a free gift. Is a goal-setting toolkit that I designed. I'm going to be sending out the link today, so people can get that. It's free. You can get it and
so
just help yourself.
Set Fantastic, nice. Let's go on a quick break. It's Monday. When we come back, we go through the front pages of the papers. Stay with us. We'll be right back.
Stay tuned. Your View will be right back.
Okay, let's start with the nation. Subsidy. Labour intensifies mobilization for protest. Picture here of one of the suspects arrested by the operatives of the NDLA at a relaxation center in Abuja for allegedly selling drugged cookies and noodles in front of the items. 6 months forex inflows can offset Nigeria's $44 billion debts. What Buni-led caretaker has achieved? Rice revolution, CBN targets 20,000 naira per bag. Conflicting rulings, NBA yet to take action on lawyers. No assets underpriced, says AMCON. 2022, Oyetola challenges opponents to obtain forms. Okay, let's start with the major headline.
Yes, so the organized labor, according to them, said they've intensified consultations ahead of Thursday nationwide rallies against the proposed removal of petroleum products subsidy. So they said they're going to be carrying out rallies. According to the Deputy President, Joe Ajero, he said that letters have been sent to heads of over 50 affiliates and state councils of the Nigerian Labour Congress. They're asking them to hold strategic meetings today on how they can make the rallies successful. They also said that the civil society organizations is in support of the protest they're going to be having on Thursday, and they have been briefed on their activities and plans for that day. But the federal government is saying that, is faulting their rallies, saying that they have not even taken a final decision concerning if they're going to take away the subsidy or not, and that this is just going to war unnecessarily, that this is something that could be averted. And they said they're not stopping them from having this, carrying out these rallies, but they should just understand that this is just, they're trying to fight when the time hasn't even come for it. They're still having negotiations. They're still going to be consulting with stakeholders to understand the impact of this failed subsidy on Nigerians. So they've not decided, and you people are going ahead to have your rallies. So it's been just back and forth.
Okay,
we'll
see how that goes.
So the NBA has been called out because they have refused to do anything about the conflicting judgments that, you know, was trending last year. The CJ, remember, the Chief Justice had said that, you know, the political judgments that they were getting about PDP, National Working Committee and Chairman Wahala that was going on was embarrassing to the judiciary. And so the agency set up a committee to probe those judges who gave those judgments, and they found them guilty. They also recommended punishments, which they have already carried out. The judges were Justice Okogbule Gbasam in the Rivers State High Court, Nusrat Umar of Kebbi State High Court, and the Cross River State High Court as well. And they issued the punishment. But the NBA also set up a 3-man committee and kept silent till date. They were supposed to investigate the lawyers who participated in these actions that led to the judges reaching those conflicting judgments. And the NBA has not come out to say this is what they've reached, and they've not, you know, issued any disciplinary action on any lawyer till date. So the news nation is calling them out.
So I'll take the AMCON story. Apparently, the managing director of AMCON was called for reconciliation and then ended up being sort of detained. And the statement by AMCON has been released to sort of explain the process of selling properties that have been forfeited, saying that no asset is underpriced because it takes 11 signatories before any asset that has been confiscated by AMCON before it gets sold. And there's a neutral body, a successive officer from the central bank who does the valuation of those assets. So the assets are not being underpriced or being sold to cronies of the AMCON, of the head of managing director of AMCON, Mr. Ahmed Kuro. The EFCC also, the statement said that AMCON has a desk at the EFCC where there is a mutual relationship on every property confiscated. The EFCC, however, said that the reason for this conversation is because they got wind of the fact that a property just confiscated, a property that the court just forfeited has been put for sale without the conversation with EFCC before that happened. The property is in Banana Island. It was owned by an oil firm, Atlantic Energy. So that's
okay, I was going to take about rice. So the CBN is targeting to bring down rice from 38,000 naira per bag to 20,000. According to them, I mean, they're hoping, I mean, if you recall, recently the president had launched this 1 million bags in 13 various pyramids, and where they were talking about how they're going to use that to target that price to reduce it further for Nigerians. And when he was asked about when the CBN will be doing anything about this 1 million bags, they said that they're going to be distributing it to the millers for rice consumption. According to them, there was something important that he said. He said that this 20,000 naira should include distribution costs, transportation costs, and every other possible cost. So they're hoping that by the time they do add everything to the Nigerian, you should get paid. You shouldn't be paying more than 20,000 naira.
So there's this special grain I wanted to do, and it's now 25,000 from Bida. And I'm looking at getting it here, the cost of transport and profit will still be 28,000 eventually. So this is laudable. I'm hoping that they execute it to the last letter.
Yes. Okay, let's move on quickly to the Punch. Electoral Act Amendment Bill bars voters from contesting candidates' certificate in court. Lagos businessman tortures apprentice to death over missing 1,000 naira fees. Yam thief shoots farm owner to death in Osun, suspect arrested. Shun sexual engagement, Elizade can't harbor pregnant students, says VC. Stop imposing hijab, beret on students, Kwara warns principals. NDLA seizes UK Saudi-bound cocaine in wigs and 6 arrested in Abuja. Sacked NSITF management, saved 2 billion naira, left 30 billion debt, says Ngige. And US team CSO witnessed MK Abiola's death in Abuja clinic, says Abdullah Salami. Okay, which story?
Major headline.
Yes.
So our lawmakers at this time around doing something that people are going to criticize. I don't know if it is English or the right intention or with clear intentions that they are doing this. So they've amended Section 31(5) of the Electoral Act that used to allow any person who has reasonable grounds to believe that any information given by a candidate in the affidavit or any document submitted by that candidate to INEC is false and may file suit in any court to contest that. And they've now changed it to any aspirant who participated in the primaries of his political party who has reasonable grounds to believe that any information given by his political party's candidate can do an affidavit and then query the information given to INEC. So they are now restricting it to only aspirants and participants within a party, as at the old order that, you know, anybody can allow. So I can just look at BC and I do not like her hair. I'll go and contest it with INEC that hair is big. It's not a real hair. But now, the new order is saying it's only those who wear wig that can do that, not, you know, everybody. And that's sort of restricting Nigerians, because somebody might have an information and not necessarily be a politician.
Exactly.
And so that's
okay, so this issue of hijab, you know, remember the controversy that happened in Kwara State. So the government is saying that, listen, leave it to be optional. You can't impose, especially, they're talking about OU Baptist High School, in Ijagbo, and St. Clair's Girls Secondary School, Offa, in OU. And they're saying those schools specifically that they should ensure they shouldn't impose hijab or berets for girls, that it should be optional. And that's what, and they want to project the state as a harmonious state, and nobody should cause any issues concerning wearing of hijab or not. So I think that is an interesting one.
Yeah,
okay.
So I have the human interest story. A businessman identified as Uche Chukwu, a.k.a. Aloy Omo Jesu, is on the run after allegedly torturing his 11-year-old apprentice to death in Ogba area of Lagos State. So what happened was that they found out, because he sells gas. So at the end of the day, they realized, the sales girl realized that 1,000 naira was missing from, you know, their sales money for that night. And then they started asking, and they asked this 11-year-old boy. He now said that there was a customer that did not pay 1,000. So they took him to the customer's place to drag the 1,000. The customer said, I paid you complete for the gas, but I'm owing you for something else, but it's not 1,000 naira. At the end of the day, the Ukechukwu took him home and then used wire on him. He said he beat him all through the middle of the night till about 1 a.m. And so the Blessing and the other guy who lived in the house suddenly did not hear his voice anymore, and they felt probably has had his bath and has slept off. By the time they came in, they saw him lying lifeless on the floor, but he felt probably he's asleep, you know. But suddenly they noticed that there was blood. Then the Chukuna told them, okay, let's go to the shop. I need to collect 1 million for something. And then they went to the shop, they collected the money. He said, let's come back. I think this boy needs medical treatment. And then they came back and he took them, everybody, into the taxi and into the car, and he told them that they should keep going, that he's coming, and he disappeared. And that was when they realized that this guy, this young boy, 11-year-old boy, is dead because of 1,000 naira. That's
probably incurred some internal injuries and was not cared for.
So sadly, another attack in Taraba has 11 houses burnt. Bandits sacked over 1,000 villagers on Saturday, Wuroboki village in Taraba State. They killed 3 persons. The attack was confirmed by the local government, the chairman of the local government, Honorable Musa Abdullahi. He confirmed the story and said that these bandits were wearing military uniforms and they used sophisticated weapons. And they attacked from about 4 p.m., burnt down 11 houses during the attack. He alleged the bandits have a camp in the forest between 2 specific locations, like they know where the bandits are. The PRO the police PRO, Usman Abdullahi, did not answer his calls to confirm the story, but this is really sad, especially since the local government chairman says that we know the area where they come.
Right. Final story in Punch before we're going to break. So the VC of Elizabeth University made the headlines. And why? Because he was saying that he's doing their matriculation on Friday. He was saying that they don't have facility to harbor pregnant students. So to be forewarned is forearmed. Don't go and get pregnant in our university. Specifically, he said you should shun all forms of examination malpractice and other acts of misconduct. The university maintains a zero tolerance for cultism, physical violence, drug abuse, and others. University holders care. We don't have the facility to care for pregnant women. So please, we don't want anybody to get pregnant on campus. It was quite interesting for a VC to be saying that and warning children.
Maybe they get a lot of pregnant girls.
Yeah, well,
it should be advocating abstinence.
Yes.
But what if they are married?
In university.
Well,
what if they are married?
For university, you must be realistic. So you put both on the table.
Abstain and
what if they are
married? Let's go on a break. It's not our hot topic. It's Monday. We're supposed to be serious today. Stay with us, we'll be right back.
Stay tuned. Your View will be right back.
Thanks for staying with us. We're still reviewing the papers. Let's move on now to Vanguard. Nigeria, others face tighter financing as U.S. hikes rates. Abiola was not killed. He died after falling ill, says Abdul Salami. 4 persons killed as NURTW factions clash in Lagos. External reserves declines further to $40.39 billion. Shake-up in correctional service, 170 officers redeployed. Irate students protest killings of Okada man by police officer, yet set the barracks on fire in Kogi. Dangote Petrochemicals fertilizer plant to accelerate Africa's economic growth, says Africa Development President. 2023, Obasanjo's rebuff of PDP, sign of imminent failure, says Okechukwu. All right, which story we started with? Irate youths.
Yes, so according to Vanguard, a policeman had shot an Okada man known as Paul in Kaba over pure water. So this Okada man had playfully taken a sachet of pure water from the policeman's car trunk and drank it. And that, had provoked the policeman. He started to question why he would take it without his permission and all of that. And before they knew it, he was shot and was down in the pool of his own blood. And the youth in Kaba reacted by, attacking the police station and the old police barracks and burnt it down. But the CP has a different, Kogi State Commissioner of Police has a different side to it. He said that wasn't exactly what happened. That the policeman had said, I would investigate. And that, he couldn't then put in the story the details clearly of, how he was going to investigate and what led to what. But the poor man was dead, as the Okada man is dead at the time of the report. And the only story that looks tenable is the side of the Okada man. But now they've burnt the police station, and this could have been avoided. We need to start to see consequences on the part of police officers so that the youth, we need to gain the trust of the people back. To believe that if a trigger-happy policeman does something to anybody, hopefully not death, that there will be consequence, that the person will not only be dismissed, prosecuted, we'll start to see their names.
And they always say, I will kill you, nothing will happen.
Nothing will happen. We need to take away that. There must be consequence for those kind of actions so that people don't go and stop. What the cost of building a police barracks is something that I know that before they will get it in Kogi State, it will take a while.
Okay, so I was going to say, you want to take a story?
Yes, so 4 persons were feared dead in a bloody clash between factions of the National Union Road Transport Workers in Idumota. So this disrupted commercial activities over the weekend. So according to the story, it said a fight erupted between Kunle Poli group and Mustafa Sego's supporters over an argument on which group would collect tolls from commercial bus drivers and motorcyclists around the Eyo unit. So they said this has been ongoing. They've been at loggerhead with each other over control of these units. And Sego's faction they have their own side where they collect their money. But what happened was that they now left where they were supposed to be collecting money and came to meet the Poly group, Kunle Poly faction. And then there was, you know, an altercation. Before you know it, one person died. So it was a reprisal attack that took them back, and then they started destroying houses, destroying properties around the place, and about 4 persons died. But the CSP of police is saying that he has not received any news of anybody dying, but normalcy has returned to the environment. So hopefully.
Okay, I was going to take the story about the former head of state, Abdul Salami, saying that MK Abiola was not poisoned. Remember, there was a school of thought that he was poisoned with tea by I think it was the people that visited from the U.S., 2 people that visited from the U.S., Susan Rice and one other person. Anyways, he was saying that what happened was the Americans came, they wanted to see MK Abiola, and they didn't, for somebody did not allow him to see it. But he had initially, there was a family that was also seeing MK Abiola for the 2 days. So first family, they grouped up in 2. One part of the family will come the first day, second part will come second day. So after the family saw him the first day, the Americans then came the second day to see MK Abiola. It was while the other family was waiting to see him towards the evening. The Americans saw him. It was while they were seeing him that he fell very ill, and they took him to the hospital where he was pronounced dead. And that he was now had the burden of how he could break the news to the family. But Nigerians are still saying, and that's his own version, obviously, but Nigerians are saying that, okay, what happened if the family A saw him, the first batch saw him the day before, and he was fine? So why was it when the Americans came that he suddenly fell ill? So there's still questions to be asked. But him coming out with this version, I'm not sure if that actually allayed the controversy that people have had on this.
How they let the family find closure.
Yeah, I'm not even sure why he raised this issue. Maybe because of what recently happened.
There must have been a story. I want to take the major headlines. So the U.S., Nigerians, others face tighter finances as U.S. hike interest rates. So U.S. has recorded its highest inflation last year since 1982. Their inflation hit 6.8%, and because of that, they are going to increase their interest rates. Now, the impact on Nigeria is that many people that are already putting their funds into Nigeria now have legitimate reasons to put their funds in the U.S. because it will be more profitable, and we need to prepare for that. The advice is that maybe we should increase our own interest rate, which might not be convenient for those that are borrowing money within Nigeria, but it might reduce inflow of investments into Nigeria in 2022. And that should be worrisome for our economy. We need investments in Nigeria. We do, we need it.
Okay, Daily Sun. 2023, opposition mounts for Atiku. Borno colleges bully victim in intensive care. Court strikes out suits challenging legality of Buni-led CECPC back Supreme Court evaluation on committee. Tears as fire guts popular Delta Anambra Market Umuahia houses. Oshun, I'm not afraid of primary elections, says Oyetola. Why Southeast is missing in police hierarchy, says PSC. And I'll work with Southeast, South-South to activate Anambra's economic prosperity, says Soludo. Okay, which story?
The Borno story. So this story was trending over the weekend, and for a lot of reasons. So this young boy, Jubril Mato, is a junior student of the Academic College of Islamic Theology, Maiduguri, Borno State. And his senior, an SS2 student, had sent him on errands that was difficult for him to run, and he said he could not carry them out. And these students dragged him out of the hostel into a dark area and used razor blades to lacerate his neck. Whoa! And left him to bleed. So he lost so much blood. By the time he was found, he was rushed to the University Teaching Hospital, Maiduguri, and he's still battling for his life right now. Now, the problem was that the story wasn't reported. There was a supposed cover-up of what happened, even from his immediate family. You know, some side of the family saying, let's just leave it, you know. And somebody now exposed it on his Facebook, and this has made it public news, you know. Bullying and, in schools and all of that is terrible. But the PAMSEC of the Ministry of Education, Mohammed Abacha, said that the committee is expected to finish their assignment. The committee that they set up is expected to finish their assignment investigating this, and until then, they will not say anything yet.
Well, where did these children learn all this wickedness from?
I don't understand.
It's painful.
Online, they were saying the senior student is highly on drugs. How does that excuse what he did to the young man if he had killed him?
Okay, let's take another story.
Yeah, so fire gutted a story building housing shops in Aba, the commercial hub of Abia State. This happened Saturday afternoon. Said the fire razed homes and shops in Umuahia, the state capital. They said the fire started about 11 p.m. on Saturday night, gutted some residential buildings, shops along Timber Market Road, World Bank Housing Estate, Umuahia, destroyed properties worth millions of naira. Said the incident happened after the EDDC restored power to the area. So as at now, we don't know what exactly is the cause of fire. So a lot of people, neighbors, came out to try to, put out the fire, which was unsuccessful till the fire service came and, tried to stop that. Somebody was lamenting, I think a tailor whose shop was affected, said he had lost 6 sewing machines, which cost 150,000 each, and 2 generators, customers' valuables and others. So a lot of people have been crying out about this. Also in Delta State, this happened in Ogbejo Market, Warri South local government. Another fire started. So what I see is this is the dry season. Everywhere is really dry. Yes. So people need to be extra careful. And they should have, they should have an exit plan in case of a fire.
So there's still quite a bit of excitement over the governorship and administration of Governor Soludo of Anambra, and he's saying that he's going to harness all the hands he can get from the south, and southeast to activate the economic prosperity within that region. According to him, he says he's going to work closely with these people, and the vision is to make that place a preferred destination in West Africa to live, learn, work, relax, enjoy, and will become any and every contribution to make his work achievable. So I'm pretty excited for Anambra State because, we feel that a lot of hope is coming that way, and we look forward to his administration's achievements. I was going to take one more story because the PSC, that's the Police Service Commission, has said that the hierarchy of the police is similarly skewed against the southeast because many people refuse from that region to sign up. Over time, it says, according to the commissioner representing that region, southeast, Onyemuche Namani, said that he said this during the one-day seminar, said that other people from other zones had to fill slots from the southeast because people didn't just show up for recruitment. So it's after it's when you come and apply that you then walk up through the ranks to become a high-ranking officer, and that's why the top hierarchy right now is skewed against the southeast because people don't usually come from the southeast too.
They don't see it as lucrative or profitable and reputable.
Okay. All right, we have to wrap up. Let's see how much time we have left. Okay, we've run out of time. Let me just quickly take the Nigerian Tribune. Is any story that's jumped at us?
The 112
illegal refineries discovered.
So,
please.
Governor Wike had issued a warning, and he also funded all the local government chairmen within Rivers State with about 460 million naira to fish out illegal refineries. But I guess the only upright chairman in Rivers State is the chairman of the Ikwere Council, Samuel Wanosike, who has found 112 illegal refineries in the Ikwere local government area of Rivers State. And he said that they are all located, 99% of them are located along the OML 17 truck lines within Rivers State. And the governor has also asked the commissioner of police as well as the head of the NCDC to give them security to help destroy all such illegal refineries. And the environmental impact of illegal refining in Rivers
State shouldn't destroy it.
It's obvious to the eyes of everybody. No?
But they should convert it to state use. That's what I mean. They shouldn't destroy it.
It's really for the suits.
We have to run. That's all we can take on the front page review. When we come back, we'll move on to our hot topic of the day. Stay with us. We'll be right back.
Stay tuned. Your View will be right back.
Thanks for staying with us. Today is the International, I think it's tomorrow actually, International Day for Education and Commemoration. We will be discussing safety in schools because lately there have been quite a bit of incident, abduction of school students, untimely deaths of students. How do we make our schools safer? If you recall, recently, a young girl, Hanifa, was abducted and eventually murdered by the proprietor of her own school. And this story obviously was very, very emotional for many Nigerians because she was such a pretty young girl and she was in a school where people thought she'd be protected. So schools are fast becoming easy targets, not just by outside people, influences, but within the school. So a proprietor can see a child and say, okay, let me abduct this child who looks very precious to her family and see if I can get her family. So what do we begin to do? Not just from outside, but asking the government to protect our schools. I mean, that's what we say when they abducted them from Kano and Kaduna. We say, please protect it, put police around. But when the perpetrator is within, is the person who's paid to protect, where do we even start from? And that's really our conversation today. You can call us on 081-270-53687, 091-390-7694. You can tweet to us at the hashtag YourViewTBC and also send us messages on YouTube and Facebook. We'll be happy to read your messages. Let me start with you, Nima. I mean, as I said, this is quite painful, but let me just take, before I come to you, I think producers want us to show the clip so that people understand what we're talking about.
A lokacin kowa ya tsorata saboda 7 na dare ya ci. Sai SS suka ce inna lillahi wa inna ilaihi raji'un. Kun dame ni da tambaya. Haka dan uwana ya je ya kai wannan kudin. Lokacin da zai tafi sai ya gaya min wata kalma da ta girgiza ni. Sai ya ce min sai ya sake min text.
No family wants to experience this. That was the mother of Hanifa. No father or mother would like to go through this because it's the most painful thing for any parent. Let me come to you, Nima. Your thoughts on this, obviously, and when the perpetrator is within, where do we start from?
I would like to just use verbatim the words of our producers when they sent the topic, because I felt that way from the beginning. So this cuts across every ethnicity in Nigeria right now. In the north, there are constant abductions within school, constant, regular. Children below 10, children as young as 4, 5 being abducted, taken to strange places, kept for months. It's becoming a trend. And in the south, too, we're dealing with bullying, courtism, sex for marks. Everywhere you have issues happening everywhere. We need to bring back the system of supervision and regulations within school. And it has to be from a place of passion, not just a place of, there are no jobs, we are creating jobs. We now put people that are not fit to do these jobs there. We need to have those unsupervised visits to regulate schools, to check whether this and this are the necessary provisions are made in school. Somebody should be able to walk into school and catch a teacher red-handed at the time of doing bullying, for instance. Someone should be able to check an allegation of sex or marks without, necessarily putting the name of the victim out there. We need proper regulations. I used to be the order in those days when we were younger, when people would come from the ministries to schools and they would be able to curb certain things. And there are those that cannot be immediately checked. We must have the data to be able to trace. Hanifa was picked up by the proprietor of her school, one Abdul Malik Tanko. The proprietor said he had financial issues and decided to kidnap one of the children. Not only that, he took her to his house. His wife saw a strange child with him.
And took care of her.
And even when the news was everywhere that they were looking for her, and the husband went to grief, nobody else reacted. There must be quick investigations. It has to be quick. We need that within the security agencies.
My problem
this growing trend has to be
the economic rationale that is always put forward for these things. The poor, the needed, I mean, people will say, hey, that should not be an excuse.
It's not.
But unfortunately, this is the excuse many of these perpetrators put forward, that they needed the money. So let me come to you.
So, that's what is evil, it's evil. This is wickedness under the guise of whatever they put it. It is wickedness. Kidnapping a child, kidnapping anybody is evil. Maybe you want to get money from it, is evil. When we finish doing evil to adults, old people, and we have now started doing to children, and we can, human beings can rationalize it, and family members can overlook it. We say, okay, when corruption has a different look when it is with family members, people will not call it. Like Mima said, the wife saw her husband bring in a strange child into the house.
She rejected whose child is this? You know, that was part of the issues. That
so, but we must bring back the value of slow and steady wins the race. We must bring back the value of I cannot do evil because of financial benefits. And we have gotten to that place where anyhow, let me just make money is what we're saying play out in different ways. Schools should be safe. Yes, we agree to that. But no matter how you protect a school, this is the proprietor. This is the person that everybody will say yes to. Like whatever institutional structure has been put to protect children in school, it will not protect the school child against the proprietor of that school. So this is supposed to be like the person who will take care of that child. Education should go beyond just as a financial means to sort yourself, because obviously this man created a school to provide financially for himself. They must be from a place of passion for raising good children, so that at no point will anybody be conniving. They say even public secondary schools that have kidnapping take place around, there is always someone within the school who is in active connivance with the kidnappers to carry out those rampage that takes place. So obviously we are leaving our children in the hands of those who have no strong passion to protect the lives of the children.
See, let me take it from a different angle to you, because one of the major problems we have is low-income private schools. And why do we have low-income private schools? Because many of our public schools have failed. Because many of these low-income private schools are not properly regulated.
Yes.
The high-end private schools might have the association where they come together. They have a bit of checkers. But the low-income ones, I remember even just the person making my daughter's hair, we're having a conversation, and she was lamenting how the proprietor of her school was beating their children anyhow. One of her friends had to remove the child from school because they almost killed this. In fact, the child fainted. Now, because it's your school. So the woman said, I don't blame her. It's her school. It's not because they're public school. It's not. But I'm trying to tell her, I'm trying to make her understand that public schools don't beat children again, at least in this Lagos. So the issue is that the reason why Hanifa is going to that school that is not properly regulated is because our public schools have failed.
Yes. And aside from that, our public schools do not have nursery schools. It starts from primary.
Yes.
Yes.
They have reception, I think.
No public schools have reception. It starts from primary one. And because of the nature of jobs that we have now, people need to go out and hustle for a living. They need to keep their children somewhere. So they resort to these, low-income nursery schools. The advice would be, now, I wouldn't know how to put this so that it won't look like because you have raised your children past this level, you're not advising people. I know that abroad, they don't take in children just like that. You need to get to a certain age before you're admitted into primary school. At some level, can we start rethinking homeschooling? At that level, is it possible? Because the children we're now going to give to proprietors and proprietresses who are supposed to naturally be nurturers, for you to gather children together, it's not because you just want to make money, it's because you feel the need to nurture other people's children. You have a large heart. Now we are now seeing that proprietors, even themselves, can kill these children for money. So we already have a problem in the society that cuts across. Can we start rethinking homeschooling them till they are 6, getting ready for primary school, and then we find ways to put them in public schools? Because for public schools, they are quite large in number, but you see that people coming, it's not something you can do and get away with. Most of the issues of abuse and bullying and death are mainly from private schools, not public schools. You don't really get away with those sort of things in public schools because they are open, they have access, any government official can walk in at any time. So for me, they are still even better protected, apart from the sight of the banditry coming in and all of that. Can we start rethinking that? Also, the method of punishing people who do this is too lackadaisical. It's too soft for my liking. It's too slow. It's too soft for my liking. We need to deter people for real. We need to put measures in place that you do this sort of thing, we take you out. So anybody who is caught doing this, you know your fate already. There's no court, there's nothing. till we get to a place where we are mature enough to handle following processes. We are not matured enough to handle it.
Thank you.
Let's not use Oyibo style to be killing ourselves here. We need to put, Nigerians are naturally tough people. You need to use toughness to handle them. When we now get to that level where we can reason together, we start reasoning together. Now we're trying to reason together with people who are not reasoning. We don't have checks to ensure that these people who run schools, teachers, are psychologically tested. A lot of adults are going around with trauma, which they carry and put on top of your children. You are busy, you are not even paying attention, you don't know what is happening. So the problem is just enormous, and we need to start fixing it one at a time. We can start with this punishment to ensure that you think about it twice before you do something.
But now, let's go into, because remember we still have this issue of Doan. Doan is a private school. So you talked about it earlier. Bullying. I mean, so we have various problems. The low-income schools, we have the issues we have there. The higher-end ones, we have kids bullying each other. We have issues of cultism, very, very prevalent in the southern parts of the country. So what approach? I mean, you said that homeschooling. I was thinking that homeschooling is probably a foreign concept. The reason why is because you've got an educated person that can homeschool now. Isn't that really
what do they need to learn at that age? What do they need? No, at that age, they just need to understand their environment. Even in Montessori, that's what we teach. We don't teach anything exceptional. It's for them to understand environment, understand how to take care of themselves, how to use it and all that. And every mother naturally is a teacher. Whether it's your local language or it's English, it doesn't matter. You can teach that child to that level.
Okay, let me come to you.
So this is why I think, we say this thing all the time that, government's business is not to do business. Government's business is to create an enabling environment. Any capitalist system, unregulated, this is what you get. So how does a person get the license to start a school? Even if we have a deficit in our public schools, how does a person qualify to start a school? That person has, so who is checking that person? Who is giving that license to start a school? Does the person just wake up one morning, one night, and start a school? Somebody has to approve how the person gets their license. Somebody has to follow up to see whether the person came to answer question, yes, I'm good. Or the person is actually doing that. There should be a standard. Obviously, Kwesili did a reform at the time. Such standards will be set for private schools to see that the people are constantly going through that. Then government can also make sure that they're doing training for them. If they are not nurturers, they were businessmen, get their minds into nurturing and mentoring. That's what schools are about. I was unfortunate to come across a school for my children, and I noticed that the owners of the school know nothing about mentoring. They're just running a school. Monday afternoon, Monday to Friday, morning, afternoon, night. They're just running a school. They don't know. You cannot get, a feedback about a child that is in their care.
Imagine. Let me go on a quick break. When we come back, we continue this conversation. Stay with us. We'll be right back.
Stay tuned. Your View will be right back.
Thanks for staying with us. So we're still discussing this issue of safety in our schools, especially where we have the enemy within. Let me take this call from Juliana. Good morning. Are you there? Hello? Okay, let me come to
So there are some...
Okay, hello, Juliana. Are you there?
Yes, I'm online.
You're live. Go ahead, please.
Hello, Morayo. Good morning.
Good morning. You're live. Go ahead, please.
Okay, I'm a first-time caller.
Welcome to the show.
Okay, and talking about the topic for the day. So many schools in the Ikorodu need to be locked up. I mean,
can't hear you.
Because we've had different experiences about teachers, even most in the school. You cannot come to complain from the school. Some teachers are even ready to fight you when you come to complain in the school. Bullying even from teachers using different languages. And by the time these children come back home, you start hearing different things and they will tell you, hey, it's my teacher that said it. It's my teacher that tells me he's going to hit me. My teacher that says he's going to lock me up, And going back to the school, even most proprietors will tell you, hey, I have qualified teachers and all that. And they will bounce back on your children, even when you are not there.
Yes.
So most of these things need to be regulated. I'm so happy about this topic for today. Thank you so much.
Thank you very much, Juliana. Yes,
so I feel that, one, we must create a different, a speedy judicial system to deal with crimes against children, you know. I think that the most vulnerable of our society that depend entirely on us are these children. So if we failed in other areas, the least we can do is to preserve our future generation. With the health sector, with the school sector, if anyone commits any crime, whether it's kidnapping, or you find the people that are kidnapped, or you find those that are bullying, or you find someone that is sexually assaulting a child, any crime against a child shouldn't have to go through the same judicial process, which can be very, very long.
Special courts.
And justice seems slow. And sometimes justice delayed is justice denied. And when people feel they will get away with things, they might just continue to carry out those actions. So wickedness exists among us. And there's really, there's a whole lot the government can do to reduce people with wicked tendencies from exploring that wickedness. When you know the level, the kind of punitive measure that would be the result of what you do, it will reduce more people following that line. One. Number two is, let justice be fast. Let justice be swift, so that people will not resort to jungle justice, especially when we have things like this. See that the story Missy took in the paper of that house of a boy, little boy, house boy, beaten to death. That man escapes. People will just feel like if people keep escaping like this, then we don't have this. We can't
this call from Kike Lomo. Kike, are you there? Hello, Kike, are you there?
Good morning, Morayo.
Good morning. You're live. Yes, very clearly.
Yes, this is a fantastic program, and I love the topic of today.
Thank you.
The truth is that the Ministry of Education is not on top of the game, because I believe there should be a disciplinary committee, you know, to handle issues of abuse against, you know, young people in school. You see, they tell us they don't beat students. We've been told not to beat students, but you see teachers inflicting on this innocent children. I know the way these teachers deal with them. And they come back with bruises. But I have a principal who is also very active in handling such issues. But how many principals are like that? I mean, Abadojayu. And I know what's being done in some of these schools. But you see, the Minister of Education is not doing the needful. There should be a call number, a contact that those students can call to report issues.
Yeah, a call
and I think that would be a very good one if we can have that. The rate of abuse on young people in schools is getting too much. In boarding schools, especially, terrible. There was a case of a young girl who resumed in school, and I tell you, that same night, that boy died because he was not he was not given good orientation.
Right.
He went.
All right, thank you, Kike Lomo. You see, the real conversation is really beyond what happened to Hanifa or what even happened to this young man, Sylvester, that died recently. It's more about how do we prevent these issues within schools, because schools have become easy targets, both within and outside. So we're not talking about security outside. We're talking about within the school, either from your seniors, from your principals, from your teachers, bullying from your colleagues in school, and even the fact that many of these teachers also harm these children. Now, as I said, many children that go to these low-income public schools, private schools sometimes, these principals feel as if I'm helping you. I'm doing you a favor. Your parents would have sent you to public school, but it's a privilege that you're in my school. So whatever I throw at you, you take it like that. If not, they let your parents come and carry you to public school.
Some people don't.
So my question therefore, do we begin to redefine what public school is? Maybe if public schools can begin to change. Maybe many of these...
can cancel out the low income.
Maybe we can cancel the low, and even the high income schools too. Maybe some of them are not properly recognized.
I'm not going to say in all areas in Lagos State. In some areas within Lagos State, you already have public schools that outdo the private schools there. In Agboju, for instance, the secondary school there, even the adult education, whenever I go there, I feel privileged to be living in a state where this is instituted. So we need to move from the place of, I have qualified teachers. You as a school owner, is it just qualified teachers? And then we have in the interiors, too many schools with teachers. Not qualified. Anybody that just loses a job, then becomes a teacher, does it over a period of time and starts to say, I have the know-how. How many children have you nurtured Somebody should be checking. It has to be the problem. The bane of this problem is checks and consequence. Lack of it.
Let me go on a break. When we come back, we're going to bring in someone very important to Lagos State education. We'll find out from him what they're doing in Lagos State, within Lagos State, and see how indeed our children are protected and all the new innovations that are happening within Lagos State educational sector. Stay with us. We'll be right back.
Stay tuned. Your View will be right back.
Thanks for staying with us. Join us on the show is the Executive Chairman, Lagos State Universal Basic Education Board, LASUBEB. He's also the chair of all SUBEB chairmen across the country, Mr. Awahab Alawiye King. He'll be speaking with us on how Lagos is tackling the burden of over 2 million after-school children. And he's also speaking on this issue we talked about earlier on safety of our children within the schools, especially public primary schools. Welcome to the show, sir.
Thank you very much. I'm excited to be here.
Yes. So before you came on, we're talking about low-income private schools, because many people go to these schools because they feel they don't want to go to public schools, especially in Lagos State. I would rather go to a private school that is fairly low income than take my child to a public school, because the perception of public school is just that they don't have good teachers, they don't have good infrastructure, their learning is not taking place, and it's not safe for my children. Is that the case today, or has anything changed so far?
Thank you very much. If we want to talk about the safest, where everything is happening, is the public school in Lagos State. I must tell you that. Because of the fact that education is a social goods, you know, the demand outweighs the supply. And as such, there are imbalances, there are surpluses. So there must be some form of intervention. That is why the government opened up the space for the private sector to come on board, but not at the expense of quality and standard. That is where quality and standard come. We have a department in the Ministry of Education, that is Office of Education Quality Assurance, that is in charge of standard quality, you know, private school registration and all that. And the idea is to bring them on board to assist the government, but government alone cannot do it.
I have two questions quickly on this, because you're the chairman of all SUBEBs within Nigeria. What exactly would you say is lacking in the Kano State SUBEB that would allow checks for the proprietors who start schools? And what's the standard? The SUBEB also cover private schools. Now, in Lagos, Lagos is very, very huge when it comes to population. And so you have certain areas that, you know, I would wonder if SUBEB comes there. I live in an area that I always wonder if the primary school there is being checked by any government authority. So how is the check also here in Lagos? Well,
thank you very much. Kano is very similar to Lagos when it talks about population. They have so many people going to Kano. Kano is also a commercial center. Everybody wants to go to Kano. So it is very similar to what is happening in Lagos State. For us in Lagos, like I've told you, we have a department that is in charge of monitoring of our schools. You know, we don't compromise standard for anything. Yes, you can come and say you want to, you know, participate, you know, as a provider of education. You understand? But at the same time, standard and quality, you understand, are very important and paramount to us in Lagos State. As the chairman of SUBEB in the whole of Nigeria, what we are clamoring for, what we are advocating is change. You know, transformation of education in the whole of Nigeria. And we cannot do that alone without collaboration and cooperation of everybody. You see, the family decline theory is actually affecting what we are doing in the whole of the country. You understand? Family value is eroding. Yeah. You know, so many things is happening. You understand? Single parenting, female-headed household, and all that. You understand? The changing we are clamoring for We start from the home.
Right.
The most important institution is the family.
Exactly.
You understand? Government alone cannot do it. School alone cannot do it. Right. Schools are part of the community, and as such, community, parents, and all other stakeholders must be involved to make sure that, you know, what we are clamoring for, we are able to get to that.
Okay, sir. Yeah, I know that for Lagos State, they are doing a lot of training, especially when it comes to 21st century teaching methods for the teachers. But I don't know how far they are going when it comes to, assessing the mental health of these teachers, the psychological aspects of being a nurturer. What is Lagos State doing to ensure that everybody who is a teacher in Lagos State is mentally stable?
Thank you very much. You have mentioned the edutech, approach into education. You understand? That is where the world is going now. Infusion and integration of technology in, transforming our education sector. We have the guidance and the counseling unit, that, do all this monitoring of our teachers. You understand? You can have the best of infrastructure, you can have the best of classroom and all that. If the teachers are not, one, properly trained, if their well-being, their welfare, and their wellness are not properly assessed, you won't be able to get your outcome, which is the learning and teaching outcome in our classroom. There is a clinic in Alausa, where all our teachers have access to go and do all this. You understand? Aside from that, we have the monitoring unit of all the teachers in all our schools. You understand? You can report to the head teacher if you notice anything, which they will escalate immediately to Sube, and Sube will make recommendations to the appropriate quarters to make sure those type of teachers are properly assessed.
Let me go on a quick break. When we come back, we'll continue this conversation. Stay with us. We'll be right back.
Stay tuned. Your View will be right back.
Thanks for staying with us. All right, so I want to go into the issue of EcoExcel because we've been seeing the banners and posters all around town and wondering, okay, how are the results from EcoExcel? We saw some figures that parents, teachers, more teachers are staying in school. We're having kids coming more to school now. They're completing their reading. I'm saying like primary 1 students are now, many of the data is showing that some of them are now reading. And the perception that teachers teaching in public schools are not very qualified, that they're not well trained. I want you to tell me to clarify, how is EcoExcel doing and how qualified are the teachers teaching our children in primary school?
Well, thank you very much. Let us start from our mandate. Our mandate is to provide free qualitative education, with teachers who are not only academically qualified, they must also be professionally qualified in an environment that is conducive for teaching and learning. That is why we are here and that is what we are doing. For you to be a teacher in Lagos State, you must, possess, education-related degree. That is number one. You must be a professional teacher. Every other profession has their own body. So for you to be a teacher in Lagos State, you must have received your Teachers Registration Council certificate or diploma. Yeah. So you must be a professional in Lagos State to be a teacher. In the area of EcoExcel is our flagship program, and that is where the world is going. The infusion of technology, integration of technology in the way we teach in our classroom. It is known as educational technology, and that is where the world is going. And the idea behind that is to make sure that we change and improve the learning and teaching outcome in our classroom, leveraging on technology. You understand? Yeah. Like I have said, that is where the world is going. To make your classroom to be globally competitive, you must introduce new dimension. And part of that new dimension you must make your classroom to be, more creative, more interactive, more engaging, more fun, and all that. Pupils are eager to come to school. Right. They are excited to come to school because of the new methodology.
All right, let me get top in here.
So I wanted to ask you about, I know we have over 1,000 public primary schools in Lagos, and obviously, it doesn't seem like this new project that you've championed, the Renovation and Digitization Intervention Program, has gotten to all the schools. Has it gotten to all the schools? How many schools have been covered? And is there are always speculations that some areas in Lagos, they have like VIP treatment, and there's some areas that they list to get good news or good intervention when it happens. Which are the areas? Can you give a list of few areas? How many schools have been covered? What is the next phase?
Again, I will refer to our mandate to provide equitable education. That means regardless of background, regardless of the area, it must be an equitable education. And that is what the Lagos State is doing. EcoExcel has covered all our schools. That is the system we have adopted, and that is what we are using. All the schools in Lagos State, every public school in Lagos State, every public primary school in Lagos State is under EcoExcel.
Can you tell people watching now what EcoExcel means to them on ground, so parents can go and verify this information?
Well, EcoExcel is the ability of the teachers, to use technology to teach in the classroom. You understand? It is the combination of the educational theory and the use of modern technology, to teach in your classroom. It is unique in its own way in the sense that it makes the classroom more engaging. It makes the classroom more interactive. You understand? Pupils are the king in the classroom. It is a pupil-centric, student-centered approach to learning and teaching.
I have the privilege, sir, of attending one of your schools, to see it. And I saw that the teachers actually, all the entire curriculum is within the tablet, right?
Yeah, thank you very much. Yes. Yeah, that is the essence of the system anyway, to make learning, teaching to be more comfortable. Teachers have their lesson notes, embedded into the system. You understand? You don't have to write lesson note on a daily basis. So it makes their job seamless. It makes their job
What's the role of the head teachers now?
The head teacher has the smartphone to monitor what is happening in the classroom on a daily basis. So you monitor attendance, time on task, the outcome on a daily basis. You have a weekly, you have a daily, you have a monthly, and you have a
But you as a regulator, can you monitor what's going on in the classrooms?
Yes, I have a dashboard in my office that monitor what is happening in all the schools in the state.
Oh, really?
All I have to do is
let me be understand that clear. Are you saying that from your office, if you dial Ikorodu Road Secondary School, you can know what's going on in the classroom?
Immediately.
It pops up.
It pops up immediately.
Please, let me let BC comment.
Yes, so somebody here, Taufik Adedeji, says from YouTube that there are no public schools in the entire Odonla or Dogunyo area of Ikorodu State. So you may have to confirm that.
I don't think that is possible. So we have education secretary in that area that will provide information to us on a daily basis. Aside from that, we have school-based management committee. We have the parent forum that we collaborate and work with that will provide information on that issue. We will look into that and get back to them.
Okay, also help us clarify if there are, because initially I mentioned that I don't think state schools have nursery schools attached to primary schools. So are they younger children who come in public schools?
Thank you very much. As part of the intervention program from the federal government, there is what you call the ECC Day. That is the early child education, you understand? That incorporates nursery school into our school. And if you go around and see many of our schools, you see Obanikoro Nursery and Primary School, Itafaji Nursery and Primary School. We have changed the nomenclature to capture the nursery aspect.
Okay, the final question, Nima, let me just
So I must comment that teachers no longer have to start to write lesson notes, because that alone is what they take as provocation on the students. But then, what's the consequence now where a teacher, even after all these beautiful, laudable projects, is seen failing in the output of students under their watch?
Well, thank you very much. Like I said, as part of the things the staff has to do, you monitor time on task. And you get report on a daily basis. You understand? We analyze the report and see if you are not doing it. That is what the dashboard in my office tells me. You understand? If I see red, that is a flag. That's red flag that something bad is happening in that area, and I need to quickly deploy officers there to monitor what is happening in that area.
So when I went for the observation, what I observed, as you said, is that when the time on task is how long the teacher is staying in class. So if a class is supposed to use for 5 minutes and you're using 30 minutes, that means you did not finish your class. So you can tell immediately that you did not finish your class.
Yes.
And then you can send somebody there. There's an L&D person there saying, what happened? You didn't finish your class. Now find out and review. If the teacher is having a problem, you can then either redeploy or you can make a recommendation. Is that what you're saying too?
Yes, that is what we are saying. We have learning and development officers that go around to monitor what is happening in our school. You understand? As I have the dashboard in my office, the technical partner also has that in their office. So they also monitor what is happening. So we are synchronizing.
Is there a number you can give people to call if they have any excuse
or
any
problem? We can't do that on TV. Yeah, so that's all we can say. But thank you very much. I mean, it was a pleasure having you to share with us what's going on in Lagos State. We didn't spend too much time on safety because what is crucial for us is that our teachers are being trained. But I'm happy that you said there's somewhere in Alausa that teachers actually go there for mental evaluation consistently. So we ensure our teachers are in the top range to actually teach in schools. But thank you very much, sir, for coming on the show. We'll still bring you back. So, because this one that you can monitor what teachers are doing in Korodu from your office. I'm still very, very shocked about that, but we'll come and see and verify. We'll come to your office with a camera to come and see how it works.
Come and see what we are doing. Thank you very much. It's a
Let's go
pleasure
to a break.
to be here.
When we come back, move on to other topics. Stay with us. We'll be right back.
Stay tuned. Your View will be right back.
Thanks for staying with us. We're still discussing education. So we have with us a special advisor to the Lagos State Governor on Education and Tertiary, Honorable Tokunbo Wahab. Welcome to the show, sir.
Good morning.
Good morning. Yeah. So we've been hearing a lot about basic education, what's going on in secondary schools, but we haven't heard so much about what's happening in the tertiary circle. Could you give us an idea on what this digital skills 2.0 is about and what you're doing to ensure that people who go into tertiary schools in Lagos State are actually employable at the end of the day?
I think you just spoke to the chairman of SUBEB, and he must have spoken extensively on Eco Excel.
Yes.
That gives you a foundation where the teachers are monitored using digital skills. Now, what we're doing for the secondary is engage our pupils ahead of the fourth revolution that is already here. And by what I mean is teaching them the soft skills of coding, clouding, Python, things that they will need as they progress in life. And in the past 2.5 years or thereabout, we've done about 200,000 pupils have benefited from it. We're not just waiting on that, we're also giving them the hard infrastructure to complement what we're doing for them. We have 6 districts in the states, and we are saying to ourselves, we have over 700 secondary schools. How do you get these pupils to start engaging in this language that they will need as they move forward? Perhaps 1 or 2 or 3 of them can say, you know what, after my school starts, I want to end it here. I want to chase a different dream. And that skill becomes very useful. So that is what the Eco Digital is about. Now, interwoven with that digital skill is what we're doing with the library intervention. We have over 700 secondary schools in the States, public secondary schools in the States. And we said to ourselves, growing up, the library was a place where you go and seek knowledge. But times have changed. So we now say to the government, and Mr. Governor approved it extensively. I said, look, let us go to each school, refurbish the library, put the digital infrastructure in place with the normal regular books. And in the past 2 years plus, we've done 243 libraries across the states, the 6 education districts, the 3 senatorial districts of the state. Now, this lays the foundation for you as you move into tertiary. Makes it easier for you to comprehend what you're going to meet ahead.
Okay, so I like the fact that there's a lot of digitalization intervention program going on, but I want to ask in relation to the curriculum. So as you're digitalizing the systems, how are you upgrading the curriculum? Do we still have subjects that teach how to do typewriting in the system?
No. Now, you have to give that to the Commissioner for Education. The first thing she did when she came was, we can't you can't do same thing, same way, and you expect a different result. Okay. And she said, we have to change our curriculum. And she went head on, and she has achieved that. And I think when she comes, she will tell you, the result of WAEC in Lagos State this year
best ever.
Is one of the best ever, from 37% to 79%.
Wow.
Thanks to her.
Wow, wow.
No, so you have to give that to her. So that tells you what is going on with the curriculum. So whilst that is ongoing, we also now need to progress them to the university level. And then when she comes, she also speak about the gap in between secondary and the university. In case you choose not to go, she will speak extensively about the comprehensive schools.
When you talk about technical colleges, because people are really, let me jump
Yes. So for me, I feel that there is a whole lot of concentration on university education, primary, secondary, but we realize that as a nation, we need to set, as a state rather, we need to set specific goals for where we want our children to go and the industries that there is a need for our children to fill, and then we guide them into it so that they don't go and become a graduate looking for work, there's no work, while there are jobs where they are not competent to fill. So is there any plan to specifically target industries that need employment, that have employability, and how to fit those children into those places using the tool of tertiary, technical schools?
Now, when the commissioner comes around, she will speak extensively about what she's doing to bridge that gap. Yeah. That's what I'm trying to address. The comprehensive school that we are going fully into, we complement the technical schools that we have on ground. Because the thinking is, we have about 11 or 12 technical schools in a state with 22 million population, growing daily. So the comprehensive schools with the roadmap is, let us attach them to each of these big secondary schools. So you can choose your path from maybe your GS2, they will know your strengths and your weaknesses to see if you have the capacity to go ahead into university. Right. Now, at the tertiary level, what we have done is, we have what we call the Job Initiative Lagos. For those in the penultimate and the final year, we take you, give you the soft skills, then teach you those things that you need to know outside the classroom. Things as little as drawing up a CV. Most of them don't know it. They won't teach you that in class.
They don't.
Things as little as, okay, if you want to be an entrepreneur, where do you start from? And then once that is determined, we now say, okay, if you're going this path, our employment trust fund is there for you to encourage you. So it's a sync in that same ecosystem that we're doing. And in the past 2 years plus, I know we've done about 60,121 of our students.
Benefited from GIL.
Yeah, GIL, Job Initiative Lagos. It used to be called Ready, Set, Work. What we did was to rebrand it and then deepen the content with respect to our pupils. And then we now step it down, not just to final year students. We say, let those people in the penultimate year also get involved in it.
Yes, Lima.
A lot of people would love to go to tertiary institutions, Lagos in particular, but the cost of tertiary education now is so discouraging. What exactly is Lagos doing to not necessarily subsidize education? What are they doing in terms of scholarship? Because there used to be meritorious scholarship during the BRF's time. In Ashiwaju's time, it was free for Lagos indigents. In BRF's time, it was based on merit. What exactly is Lagos doing to pick from secondary school now excellent students that they know and make a dream of it?
Now, that policy has not changed at all. If anything, we had even increased the scope of it. In the past 2 years, this governor had disbursed about 2.8 billion for scholarship and bursary. Now, what we have done is, the merit will be for those that want to get scholarship. You have to have a particular GP to move you to the scholarship band. However, for every indigent of Lagos, you are entitled to a bursary, irrespective of your GP or whatever. And we have paid up to date. So
when you say indigent now, Lagos
resident
ancestry. Someone who has Lagos
there's what they call indigentship screening for them. Once you scale it and you meet the requirements, you have your bursary. For those that are going to get scholarship, we have also said to ourselves, there are times when maybe you are a policeman, you die in the course of duty, we take your kids and we adopt them as the states.
That's good. That's okay.
For all the policemen that we lost during the NSAS, for instance, all their kids are on Lagos State scholarship.
Great.
Really?
For our...
you didn't hear this. Nobody tells us. How come you guys don't say these things out?
Now, we have to tell our story.
Telling our stories. Yeah. All right. Now, so there was somewhere that you said something about LASUED and Lagos State University of Science and Tech. What is that about? We just heard it. You said it in passing, like nothing happened. We say, Uncle, please.
Now,
what is this about?
Okay. Now we have, as a state, we have LASUED. That's our foremost.
Yes.
It's been there for about 30-something years. Now we have 2 colleges of education. One of them is 63-year-old. That's Adenima College of Education. And then we have the one at Epe, North Forija Epe. The enrollment are dropped through the years. UTME have not made it easy for us. The best students are sent to the universities. The second best to the polytechnic. The worst of them are now sent to go and do NCA courses. Even at that, the schools are not having a student population. On the other hand, we have a polytechnic. You have HND, even with a distinction. If you come to public service, you can't be a PAMSEC.
Thank you. I'm sure we agree.
Your ceiling is level 14, except you do a conversion. And conversion in a place like LASUED will take you 2 years, 6 semesters.
Wow.
That's okay. This discrimination is obvious. The law has not changed. We now said, Mr. Governor said to me, your mandate, your KPI is, let us find a way to increase the capacity. LASUED, 40,000 applies yearly. They can only admit maybe 10% of that.
Yes.
So where would you have the leftover go? They'll go back home, try next year. Next year it becomes difficult. Then you start seeing them in the garages. Start seeing them on the roads. So we now said, draw up the law, draw up the roadmap. These colleges that have become almost moribund, and we're funding them with taxpayers' money monthly by way of subvention. Let us make them University of Education. Fuse the two to one University of Education. And they have a degree in BEd. There's a market for them. And then for the Polytechnic, to avoid this issue of discrimination, this poly in Ikorodu, they have about 58 of 60 PhD holders ready to go. Make them a University of Science and Tech. We are building a real system for the state. The first sub-national to do that. Red blue line that will move from Marina to Okoko. The red line from Wenyibo to Alagbado. They need people that can work on that. Exactly. And that's where this market comes from.
This is my question.
So there's a roadmap.
There's a roadmap.
From schools to employment.
There are still certain jobs that require, some would say, how did you get a degree in education? Do you have an NC? How did you fall into education? Is the NC now completely phased out? Is it no longer a requirement?
Now, let me tell you what we found out. And our findings show that NC is no more relevant. Lagos has been employing. What's the minimum we employ in Lagos for the past 2 years? And we've employed about 5,000. It's BEd. It's a BEd. That's a benchmark. So if you have NC, you need a postgraduate diploma in education.
Education, yeah.
To tie you to education. And what we are trying to do is, and I agree with the commissioner and the governor on this, you must have a foundation. You must be an educator. Yeah. Let me quote the commissioner. You must be an educator to educate kids. Exactly. So you don't come to education by way of Muyaba, by accident. So the roadmap is very clear, and we are working towards it assiduously.
So I noticed that one of the problems we have is that our young people are not very good at volunteering. And if you check other economies of the world, they start very early to volunteer for things, you know, so maybe during the holidays you go to a factory and then you're working, you're learning the ropes and all that. What is Lagos State trying to do, or what plans do you have?
We have a volunteer code that is very deep now.
Okay, how does that work?
It's under the SDG. I know the SA on SDG has been very passionate about this, and in the past 2 years, we've set up a volunteer corps of about 8 to 10,000 that volunteer fire service, health, teaching, and stuff. And
they really volunteer?
They volunteer. Over 8,000 as we speak. I know it's over 8,000. Because she sits next to me in Exco, so we talk about some of these things. We rub minds on them. And I can tell you for a fact, it's over 8,000 that we have as volunteer corps in Lagos State now.
So secondary school students volunteer?
More than
people till you get to tertiary?
Don't have to be in tertiary. Secondary school, maybe you're even in school, you're on holidays, you volunteer.
Okay, so there's one challenge that everybody has complained about with the secondary school, the university education within Lagos, which, of course, you've already sort of addressed in terms of technology aspect, is the fact that we haven't had major revamp to the physical infrastructure.
That's not true. In the past, this governor came in May 29th, 2019. As I speak, he's completed the student arcade that was abandoned after 12 years in LASUED.
Okay.
LASUED is having a world-class education faculty. The contractor is on site. LASUED is having a world-class tech hub. They mobilize the contractor. That I am aware of. Lagos Poly, they are having a world-class admin building. that is ongoing.
Under construction.
Ongoing.
Okay.
Now, I know we're also giving LASU at 8,272 bed space student hostel, and it's like 50% now.
Wow.
Okay.
Now we're also trying to replicate that with Lagos Poly. PwC is on top of that consortium, and I know the contractors should move to site this first quarter.
Okay.
We're also doing that for Lagos College of Medicine in Ikeja. Now, why are we doing all this? If there's infrastructure deficit, you can't bridge it overnight. So you have to be very deliberate in your approach. And then don't forget, there's economies of scale, and then your scale of preference, which one comes. But luckily for us in education, this governor has made education and human capital development a priority. His budget speaks for that. Through the years, he's always been increasing the budget for education. And not just by paper, but by cash backup.
Now, I've been talking about hubs, creating hubs to attract and absorb many of these people when they graduate. So what are the we know the technological hubs are being created and all that. What other industrial hubs do you think you working on, or should we expect in Lagos State? Because I hear people saying, oh, we're going into farming, we want to produce this, we want to process this, but people feel like there's no industry ready to take them. So yes, you go to universities and you want to do agriculture, for example, and you feel that, okay, all people expect you to be a farmer. But that value chain, there's nobody creating that system where I can say, okay, this is where I can place myself in this.
Morayo, that also is changing.
Okay.
Now, I know also that the Commissioner for Agric, Bisola, had created something to absorb that. They call them, I think, agro-business kind of platform. The state also is putting its leverage behind it. And in the past 1 or 2 years, I know they've done a lot of impact in that space. Now, don't forget, it's just that we are in a system where we don't get our narratives right. The government orderly should not be the one that will take. The government should just provide the enabling environment.
Yes.
But we're in a system where it is what it is. So you see the government providing the enabling environment and also off-taking.
Yeah.
Which seems like it's too much for them.
Well, it is too much. If you go to the number of people that are paying taxes and then vis-a-vis the population, it is so much. A state like Lagos, the only subnational that I know that is building a rail project, that is audaciously doing a rail project, not just 1, 2. The only subnational that I know in the world that is doing this, the blue line, the red line.
Since we're on education, let's talk career-focused education. For instance, I'll use the fire service as a focus. So when they recruit at the fire service, they
are recruiting now.
Okay. If I had followed my father's footsteps, maybe I would be a fireman. So they would then do a training at their training school. The federal used to have one at Mojolegba where they would train. And when my dad's old days, he would complain that that training wasn't sufficient. Because when you do fire training abroad or in other climes, or when he was training in the multinationals, he would explain that there are several sciences to fire safety and engineering that, were not covered at the training schools. Are we looking at opening a technical school where somebody who intends, whose dream in life is to be a fireman, gets the kind of quality education, even if it's for 2 years, that qualifies that person to combat fire, because it's beyond pouring water on fire that quenches.
I'd like to add to that question, so about technical schools. So in addition to our own fire question, we have 5 technical schools in Lagos State. How many more are we getting, or do we even need more? Are we using adequately utilizing this 5 that we have?
Now, we have 5. Now, the comprehensive schools are meant to complement the technical schools. Yeah. They are meant to complement the technical. They are going to do what those technical schools are doing. But there will be situated inside each of those schools, secondary schools. Okay. And the target is, if we can do like 50 this year, out of that 5 that is on ground, we can now try to see how we can go the numbers and assess the impact. Let us say this. Our people are just certificate-centric.
Yeah, exactly.
It's not all the kids are meant to go to university. But parents are so into Omoyokawi, Omoyomowi kind of thing. You must force this child to go on.
So that you can say your child has an LLB when the child actually just requires a technical knowledge. Not
So is there anything the state is doing with stakeholders and parents to understand
Engaging. That's fully on ground now. The commissioner is doing so much work with respect to that space.
Yes.
Now, your first question, I agree with that, with them upgrading the curriculum. And I think this is a message.
Special schools for that.
This is a message I'll take to the commissioner in charge for special duties, Bangoche Martins, to see how are we doing this? Are we doing it the right way? Fire service it's beyond water.
It's beyond water.
Yeah. And I agree with you.
Yeah, so this engaging, how is it working with the parents? Because I'm interested in that.
Now, the feedback will come with time. I'm a very pragmatic person. Feedback will come with time in the sense that when we see the enrollments and how they cooperate with us, that's how we know how they've bought into that vision. But the fact is, not all our kids should go to university. Not all of them should.
Overcrowded.
It's not even being overcrowded. It's just about the reality of it. I wish they had the capacity for it.
Overcrowded
with everything Lagos State is doing.
Getting knowledge they don't require for the jobs that they need.
I have to wrap up very soon, but I'd like you to just give us an update on, you've obviously told us everything you're doing, but vocational schools, hairdressing, makeup, baking, that's all they teach them. Is that all we can teach?
We need tilers. We need plumbers.
Yes.
We need tilers. The construction industry. We need good.
I think they are teaching them all those things too. Now, there are two sides of the vocational training. The one that is being done by the TVETs, where they teach them the plumbing, the bricklaying and stuff. Now, for the one that has to do with Agency for Mass Education, they teach them hairdressing, the makeup. And because some of them just need that to get by. And what is the motive behind it? Maybe whilst you were young, you were pregnant and you missed the opportunity, but you still need to come and pick that knowledge to have a skill that can make you survive without being a burden to anybody.
We have to run. Thank you very much. Is there anything you want to tell us before we go? Anything that's important?
What I can just tell Lagosians is this governor, Babajide Olusola, is doing so much in the education space, so much that they need to be patient. The result we can also see, but it won't come overnight. It's just like when you plant the Chinese bamboo tree. It takes time. You have to water it, tend to it for about 5 years for it to be deeply rooted. And once it's deeply rooted, it sprouts out in its majesty. So the government is doing so much, and I believe by the next cycle, more and more will be done.
Fantastic. Thank you so much.
Thank
We're
you.
speaking with Honorable Tokunbo Wahab, the Special Advisor to the Governor of Lagos State on education and tertiary education. Thank you so much, sir.
My pleasure.
That's all we can take on the show today. See you tomorrow. Have a great day. Bye for now.